Welcome. It's SVPod, Stanford Steve, still in Bloomington.
No.
Where are you?
We're in the Berg, baby, downtown.
There you go. The Hail to Pitt. They started with candy stripers.
Undefeated. Yeah, you didn't like that?
I mean, it's fine. I get it. When in Bloomington.
I forgot you're Big Ten Scotty. I'm sorry for wearing the colors of other Big Ten teams, but it's
when
my
in
first time.
When in Bloomington.
My first time. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. People were awesome. Our guy, Jeff Brown, we were eating dinner last night, and this was after our Friday, where we had the best setup possible. Like, our office was in the stadium. So I got to meet some of the players. Signetti comes over. Obviously, the Coach Corso dynamic where everybody's just coming in. And then I had a window where one of our security guys was a monster SVP fan. And therefore, I got to be treated very well. And I said, Assembly Hall's right across the parking lot. And I see, like, all the cops, like, they just have these flashcards where they get in any door possible. And I'm like, is there a way we could take a stroll over to Assembly Hall? I've never been here. I've only remember watching Indiana basketball play my whole childhood and never remember them losing in that building. And he's like, absolutely, let's go. We'll go after your sports center hit, whatever, it's 2:00 hour. And I got to walk Assembly Hall on the floor, the whole arena, all by myself, and it was freaking awesome. It was really cool. Go in the locker room. Cody Zeller and Oladipo redid the players' lounge, like their names on it, their stuff's all over. Like, to have some new blood in that building, but just. You've been there. You've been able to see a game there.
Yep.
The shape of it, to see how high those balconies are.
Straight up, man.
Like, those are some, like, that's hardcore hoops, man. And, we walk into the hotel. Our room keys are Shooter's ID from Hoosiers, the movie, and Norman Dale, and the team pictures over the check-in desk. Like, I was all in from the second, man. It was really, really cool. People, we were talking Wednesday night when we were at work. People were reaching out. Hey, come get a meal. Come say hi. We'd love to have you check out our stuff. And that thing is cranked to 10, man. Bloomington is, or they call it B-Town. It's going, man. And there's one guy in charge of it, and that's Coach Signetti. It's real. It really is.
He was a guest on SportsCenter the other night. I was fired up because I made him laugh. I felt like that was a Herculean accomplishment because 6 seconds each play, blah blah blah, process and this. And I said something about, can you allow yourself just to enjoy what it? And he's like, and he's got that hardcore Don. Speaking of Western PA, he's like, I can't do that, Scott. And I just said, guys, Coach, said, it's going all right. Relax. It's a Thursday. I'm not asking you to have a parade. I'm just saying. Any kind of laugh. He goes, yeah, we're doing but you got it, the process, and I completely appreciate what it is they're doing. Look, when you talk basketball school, like Stoops and Cal butted heads in Lexington about that. Look. Lexington's a basketball school. I mean, we don't have to be, there's certain schools you can do well at football, and it's great if you do. It's obviously better if you do. Indiana basketball, Hoosiers, it's a movie. Everyone gets it. But it's clearly more fun, and I don't remember ever once seeing that stadium look like it did today.
Oh man,
where it was all them. I've seen Michigan or Ohio State come in and take over your joint. I've never seen it like that where it was all them. And is this a vintage Washington team? No. But the way they won, where they were turning a pick six sets the scoring, they don't trail again. the transfer from Wake, Justice Ellison. He was the wrecking ball today. That was a season high for him.
He got a gear.
And he's also it's low. Like that low gear you put it in when you want to run over boulders. He's got that. The Washington scores to get within 3 to start the second half. And you're like, all right, here we go. No. Just methodical down the field, 3rd and 6, run it first down. I mean, and once they pushed it back out to 10, that was it.
Yeah.
Taven Jackson, who fills in for Rourke, who had the thumb injury, did just fine. Didn't have to do a ton. Had the one pickoff, a deflection, whatever. Bottom line is this: I remain where I was a week ago. They'll be favored over Michigan State and Michigan, and they'll go to Columbus, presuming Coach Cignetti can keep them focused on the here and now. I mean, I'd be surprised if they don't go to Columbus unbeaten.
Yeah, there's a lot there because the obvious fan base feeling, right? You know, like they've took their lumps as a football program. They're supposed to be better than they have been as a basketball program. But I don't want to say instant, but the overhaul that Sig has brought there, like you walk around like Thursday was nice. Friday, it was like, hey, our ball team's got a day away here. Like we're ready to go and we're ready to roll. We're good. Our offense is good. We like this confidence that was just instilled over the process. And then, you know, we're over in the building, Scott. Coach comes over, the Corso thing, obviously. But like their center, 6-year kid, Mike Kadick walks around, says hello, huge fan of you. We start talking. And, you know, I watched him on tape and I was really impressed with him. And then he starts telling me his story. 6th year, he declared for the draft. And, you know, he ends up going to, you know, Cignetti gets the job. And then he gets a text from Sig's niece. He went to school with Sig's niece in Pittsburgh his whole life. And she's like, hey, I think you should stay around for another year. It'd be pretty cool. He's like, what are you talking about? She's like, my uncle's getting a job. And like this whole thing, he played left guard for 3 years. Sig says, come in. I want you to be my center. Let's mold this offensive line. You've been here. You're a 6-year kid. I'm going to bring kids from JMU. Like this whole belief and overhaul of this whole program is instilled, and it's happened fast.
Yeah.
And there wasn't like, I'm talking to kids Thursday and Friday night. It's like, we're going to win by 30. And I'm like, whoa. Like easy, guys. Like, embrace the journey, man. Like but you know what? That's what it is now.
To be fair,
this avalanche, and they want it all right now, and they want to go to Columbus and be undefeated. I'm like, you got to get there, and you got as hard as it is, and as long as it looks that far away, just take it one step at a time. This place is on fire, and then to be able to go in the stadium for the last hour of the show. And then for them to put us up on the big screen, because Herbie tells me in my ear, I'm picking Washington. And then poof, Des already picked Washington. We go live on the Jumbotron. And Herbie looks at me and he looks up and he's like, I didn't know we were going to be on the Jumbotron. I'm taking Washington. The whole stadium boos them. Like it was phenomenal. And then Pat Schwarber's absolutely phenomenal. I did not bring up the NLDS. I did not bring up Stanford beating Indiana when he was there to end his Indiana career. He was phenomenal. And then obviously you got Coach there. So it's a that snowball effect, but it's real, man.
Yeah.
They are a solid football team.
I want to get into the day in a minute. I want to get into the undeniable comparison I do watching Indiana play Nebraska last week.
Yeah,
and then watching Ohio
Yes.
State play Nebraska. Speaking of Indiana against Ohio State. I also want to talk about the night of the backup, because that's the headline of this day, is Marcel Reed and Bo Prabula, Texas A&M and Penn State, riding backups at night to not come back. Penn State was ahead anyway. But you mentioned Coach Corso.
Yeah.
You and I are both, this is no secret,
Saps.
no apology to anybody for it. You should let yourself, shout to Coach Valvano. You know, you should think, you should laugh, be moved to tears. That's a good day.
Uh-huh.
The things that move me in an emotional way are right there. Easy for me to access. They're not buried deep. It's right there. And I know they are for you as well. How many times this week in B-Town did this week for Coach this weekend? As I speak to you, I'm looking up and there he is, and I don't want to look at it because I'll cry in his Indiana sweater. How many times you find yourself getting misty-eyed for the love that he got there?
Oh, God. It started yesterday in our meeting. Got a chance to meet his son. That was the first inkling, and he starts telling me about what Coach has told him about me. And I've been around Coach, but we've been in it the last 2 years. And he starts talking about conversations. Like, I sat down with Coach Corso last year before Army Navy for an hour, and we talked about, and he went through drives that he had in the Army Navy game. And then we start talking, and then I lost it. Like, I just went to the bathroom. I'm like, man, this thing is going to be serious. And then Reese is telling me he's got to go do the sit down. And, what the hardest thing, and then this is what I'm going to bring it up on our call on Monday with our production crew, who are just the best.
No doubt.
Is trying to capture that. Like, we're all in the room, man. We know how strong this thing is. And I'll give you a great, this was the one that really got me. So it's Friday morning. We have a 9 a.m. meeting over at the stadium. Me and Coach Corso are in the hotel lobby. And it's this little coffee shop. I mean, it's like you go back to 1980s. There's 2 girls working. There's 5 people in line. We're in line for 25 minutes. And Coach is looking at me like, kind of want my coffee.
Hey, sweetheart.
I'm
Sweetheart.
jonesing. And I'm telling you, 75, 80-year-old women are walking through the lobby and turning around. They're like, Lee. And then he had now the players that are starting to come into town. He's got former walk-ons that were on that 79 team. He's got his players. And to see these conversations, I could see him, he's welling up because he just knows that all he wants to do is get there and see these guys. So we finally get to the front of the coffee line. And this girl, she's probably 23, 24 years old. And we've been waiting in line for 25 minutes. And she says, whatever. He's like, Steve, I'm getting the coffee. And he says, give me 2 cups. We'll get our own coffee. And she's like, that's $7.50. And he leans over and he's like, sweetheart, it better be good. And I'm just like, he's you never know what he's going to say. And he's just always on point. And that was what just set it off. And he's looking at me. We get to the meeting. He's still got his coffee. He's sipping. He's like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait. But no, just going back, the players, and then to see Signetti come over, and then I just it was overwhelming at some point. And I know Kirk had wanted this, Reese had wanted this. Pat had wanted this, being in that state now and knowing the effect. It was a full circle moment. And then Coach walks in today in his pullover from 79, and I lose it. And then I go get changed, and I put on the warm-ups, and he just runs up to me and gives me a hug. And he's like, this is a great day. I'm like, absolutely, Coach. This is all you. And then the stories about him driving a double-decker bus into the stadium with his team. And then our guy again, Jeff Brown, finding a double-decker bus to bring the team in for game day. It was just really, really cool. And you talk about Midwest, and you talk about and I talk about how good that college town is. Genuine, man. Just genuine happiness and remembrance. That stuff never gets old to me, man. And it was just to be able to be a part of it is one of the things I'll never forget that day. How high it went, and then to be able to see that piece and the way, again, our production team cutting and editing, the ideas they had, how they wanted to do it, it resonated. And I really think people got a lot out of it.
They
because
did.
if they didn't know the story, you got it. And that's what we wanted to have resonate. Because he means so much to us, and he means so much to so many other people. And I got a chance to see that in his old stomping grounds, and it's just tremendous, man. I don't know what else to say because I'm going to start crying again.
All right,
but it was awesome. It was that as good as it looked wherever people were watching it or whatever. There, it was way stronger and awesome.
Well, we were on the flag football field for 3.5 hours this morning. Had some, we had some practices. We had running some route trees, things of that nature. So we got some taping it, checking it out.
Yeah.
And I'm just devouring the coach stuff because he means I had a tiny little role on game day many years ago when I was passing out on people in regional jets, as we discussed, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago on the pod. But that man's a legend, and that show's legendary. And shout to all of you. Shout to Pat for recognizing, like, Pat's a rock star, and that's his state. And he can be the superstar, or he could go, no. Let me take my light and let me shine it on that man, because this is his stage, right? This is his day, and you guys share it all together. We've talked about this, and you obviously played at a higher level than I did. But anybody that's listening to us that played, you got that guy that still to this day is coach. Like, I got mine. Coach Loeffner's my guy. And, I got a text from him recently. He's still on my phone as coach. I'm a grown-ass man. Well, I'll only call him coach for the rest of my life because he's coach. And so to see these men who are now old men, respect, talking to him about what he meant to their lives.
Yeah.
And what's so I think important. This is how I digested it, I guess, internalized it, whatever. Like, Indiana wasn't national champions.
No.
They were just a team. But they had moments, and they had moments with him. And there are tens of thousands of men just like them who have their coach, who just hasn't been picking games on TV for the past 30 years. It didn't become like America's guy. And it's just worth remembering what that bond is and the way that sports change people's lives and change the direction of people's lives. And I think for Coach to get his flowers in such a strong way in this place on what is as high a watermark as they've had in Indiana.
Yeah.
Ever? You tell me, man. Game days there, they're undefeated. People are talking about the playoff. There hadn't been a lot of that in this sport. Really cool to watch. And I know you and I talk a lot. I know what that group is about, how the bonds of that group. It was awesome. Just absolutely awesome. So salute to all you guys for making it as special as it clearly was for him.
And, Coach is coming off missing a couple West Coast trips, and he's very, very cognizant of what he's doing, and he wanted to be very good today, and he was great.
Yeah, he was.
He was great, man.
Yeah.
And that's to see him be able to do it. It was good, man. Oh, man.
I hear you. Right on. Well, all around beautiful job, beautiful day, beautiful for the Hoosiers who played a physical, buttoned up, high level winning football. Was it? I mean, that's. Look, I'll put it to you this way. Let's bring up the Ohio State bit. I watched them play Nebraska. Last week, I watched Nebraska play Indiana. I saw Indiana drop 56 on them. I saw Indiana do whatever it wanted to them. I saw Ohio State. I thought they're going to lose.
So did I. I thought they were going to lose before they stopped them on fourth down when they got the pick. That's when it was.
Again, old married couple. And they get the stop. It's 14-9. Nebraska goes for it from the 1. It's barely, but they stopped him. Ohio State all credit in the world. That defense stops them. But then Nebraska gets the ball back. Then they score to go ahead, and it's 17-14. And this Ohio State offense that couldn't do anything today. They had 11 first downs. 11. They got 11 fucking first-round picks, man. Like, they had 11 first downs against a team that gave up 56 a week ago to Indiana.
Yeah.
They couldn't run the ball. Ryan Day said, right, so before Buckeye fans get mad at me, your own coach, who I guess you're mad at, said this ain't good enough. We got to be able to run the football. I give them credit, Steve. When they had to have a drive, they got one. 8 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. And they converted 1 4th down on that drive.
Big fourth down.
Yep. And then they get a stop late. Raiola throws a pick, and they survive. The great news here is that Indiana and Ohio State play in a few weeks. So we don't have to we can do this transitive property, but it's not necessary. If you do the transitive property, what did Indiana do against Nebraska? What did Ohio State do against Nebraska? You'd say, well, Indiana's better than Ohio State. I'm not saying that. No. I'm just saying against a common opponent, one team looked awesome, the Hoosiers. The other looked like he was going to lose. That's Ohio State. And they won, but I didn't think they were gonna for a lot of that game.
Yeah. First off, shout out to Matt Rule. He got his team ready, and they got mopped last week. And like I watched that tape more than maybe any game I've watched this year because there was so much in it. I wanted to know what Ohio State was going against. Obviously, the Taven Jackson coming in at quarterback. It was my first chance to watch Indiana against a physical defensive line. And it's bad because when I talk about Nebraska, Scott, I had to go back and watch Nebraska, Colorado, the defensive side, after I watched Indiana, Nebraska, because I didn't know if those were the same guys that played. I'm dead serious. And then you know what happens today? Those guys played like they did against Nebraska. And they were the same guys that Indiana
against Colorado.
moved.
Against Colorado.
Yeah. Sorry, yes. And then those were the same guys that played against Indiana, that Indiana moved all over the field. Now, I will say Indiana got, I think it was 5 turnovers. Taven Jackson comes in that second half. He gets the ball in like the plus 33, plus 28. That helps Indiana score 28 more points after they're up 28-7. But I will say this. I always want the little guy to be ranked. I'm with you. I'm not saying Indiana is better than Ohio State. They should be ranked higher than them. That's all I'm saying.
I disagree with that. I guess they lost by 1 at Oregon, who's number 1. You could say to me, what's Ohio State's best win? And that would be like, I don't know. That would be a fair question to ask. I guess we could have a better answer next week because they've got to go to
oh boy.
Yeah, that's a lot, man, because both those teams, I'm sure today were watching their teams play and thinking, we better be better next week. You know, Ohio State watches themselves and they're thinking, well, shit, we're losing in Happy Valley if we play like this. Then Penn State is kind of limping Aller quite literally through that game. Look, you and I have been in Madison on a Saturday night. That place.
I've said it all week.
That place, you don't want it, man. You don't want it. I got a text from Wando this morning. I've been
texting him all week.
I mean, I did say on Winners, fish bowls on me. I think Wando wanted to know, was I opening the tab? As it turns out, we didn't get there.
No.
We're going to ping pong around if we're going to do this, but let's just do this because let's talk about that game because Aller gets injured and Bo Prabula, different kind of quarterback. But he was really good in the second half. That defense put the clamps on the Badgers. They get the pick 6 that turned a 3-point deficit into a 4-point lead. And once that happened, then the pressure's not on him to win the game. But he was more than a guy that managed the game. Like he was leading the drive that led to the difference that was in the end too much for Wisconsin to make up. So much so that I think I might have seen our old buddy Bunky Perkins suggesting, like, no, it wasn't Buddy. It was a different guy. It was Kegs and Eggs that was saying, one of our college football followers saying that, like, suggesting Penn State should go to him at quarterback. Aller's the quarterback, in my opinion, if he can be. But I think the great news, we talk about this in the NFL, and it was certainly the case tonight in 2 big games. You had a guy that came in that more than just could hold the place in line. He executed, made plays, and Penn State's able to get out of what is a really terrifying environment to have to play in with a more comfortable than it really was on the field victory. So all credit to him.
No doubt. But I also think when that kind of thing happens, that dynamic where you lose your quarterback and guys on the team know the backup, they know him, and he's a lot of times he's the good locker room guy. But when the other guys on the team, maybe even the better players than him, maybe the NFL guys, see him out there executing and making plays, there's a extra enthusiasm that gets everybody going. And in that environment, that's exactly what you need. You need everybody to rally, because you look around. I mean, they showed it on TV. That fourth quarter jump around was as good as I've seen in that building. We've been there for some good ones.
Yeah.
But for them to execute, take the lead, and then it's like, all right, they still got the lead. They forced Wisconsin to get the field goal. Then they go up 21-13. And I think it was the next drive where he's falling and rolling to his left, and he hangs in there long enough to get the ball to Warren on the sideline.
Yep.
That's a big-time play, man.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
On the run, on the road,
made plays.
All of that.
He made plays.
Yes.
It was more than just kept the seat warm, made plays, and plays had to be made, and he made them. So that sets up the Penn State Ohio State here we go game.
Yep.
And Penn State obviously is not yet lost. Ohio State, of course, fell by 1 at Oregon. So that's a giant nooner. I know the folks up in State College be thrilled if it's a night game, but the way TV works, that's a noon kick for you guys. It'll be a giant one.
Just one more thing about Ohio State.
Yep.
They did lose their second best left tackle too. That's a problem. I know it's the best team $20 million could buy, but now you're talking about you're getting into the weeds here, and now you're going. I mean, they went on the road and went, snap for snap with Oregon. This whole idea of now going out with your third best left tackle on the road,
sure. Yeah, and that Penn State defense is rugged, but yeah. we also have a gigantic, as we talk late night Saturday night, we have a gigantic question mark about what the issue is with Aller.
They keep saying leg.
That's right. So is it knee? Is it? I don't know. I'm sure there's an internet doctor that's got it all figured out.
Oh, maybe a couple.
I later tonight I'll go through and see what it is. Looks like a PCL strain. Thanks, Doc. You put on a jacket and got a stethoscope. That's how I know you're a doctor. Awesome. Marcel Reed, the quarterback at Texas A&M?
You know what's funny, Scott, is being in Indiana, I was reluctant to say this because Cignetti, of what he's done, is obviously coach of the year to this point. But if I had a vote, it would be Mike Elko. That guy can just flat out freaking coach, man. I've told the story. Go ahead.
And it's just the most gigantic 180 from the dude you had before.
And that's what I want to get to here, because I'm there the Thursday before they play Notre Dame. He lets me come to practice. It's 110 degrees. It's Thursday at noon, and I'm walking around. I'm by myself, and I'm just looking. I'm like, this is the offensive line that Texas A&M has. They're not going to be able to block Notre Dame. And then you go on the other side, and you there's some bickering going on with the defensive line. And I'm like, God, they have so much talent there. And then there's some whispers. You go to lunch, you talk about what was the problem? Why did it spiral with Jimbo? And there's people talking about guys went out on Thursday night, in all this stuff. And then I get to see him talk to the team on Thursday before he lets them go. And let me just tell you, there wasn't any guys that were going to go out that Thursday night. I think Coach made it very, very clear. And then he comes over to me after practice. We're BSing. He gives me, what'd you think? And I'm sitting there. I said, I think you got to be pretty buttoned up on the offensive line. He's like, yeah. He's like, but the bigger picture is, just the habits. There's a lot of bad habits we got to get out of guys. A lot of bad habits. And it's funny. He said, I think we can rely. He's like, I know we can rely on our defensive line depth. And he's the only guy this whole offseason going into the season that did not have a problem with what he had as far as it comes to defensive line strength. Every single coach in America was worried about their depth on the defensive line because of the portal and the way guys are getting paid. Would the pace of the game change? You need multiple defensive line guys in this college football age. And especially when you're playing in College Station and it's 110 degrees for your first night game.
Uh-huh.
So for him to do that and then go to Florida, be able to, hide the Wigman injury underneath, put Reed out there, that's a worst nightmare for a coach when you don't know that the other team's going to the quarterback that is more of a runner, right? Then they come back. They're getting ready for Missouri. What does he do? Reed, day-to-day, Connor Wigman, day-to-day. Or week to week. Wigman starts, plays great. And I said, I think it was on Thamel and Reese's podcast this week. I said, I'm telling you right now, he has played every quarterback situation to a T. And he's a defensive guy, and that's how good he is. I said, I wouldn't be surprised if I see Marcel Reed play against LSU. And sure enough, he looked like he had another gear that he hadn't shown either. I mean, those riding the sides, he was out the gate.
Well, I'm asking you who's their quarterback moving forward, because tonight they don't win that game if Reed doesn't come in. Now, it's a really interesting scenario because Reed comes in and it's home run, but it coincides with Nussmeier and LSU just imploding.
Yeah.
It's 17-7, and it was wild to me how that game script felt a lot like the Notre Dame game. Because A&M couldn't do anything. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, here comes Reed, score, turnover, and you blink, and all of a sudden, Kyle Field, which doesn't need an excuse to light the fuse, boom. And next thing you know, they're out of there, double-digit victory, and you said it just a second ago, and you know the man. I don't pretend to. If I guess you have the luxury of two guys that have demonstrated they can do it for you at the position, but in terms of playing it right moving forward, and everybody's going to be looking down the road at that Texas game, but we know in this conference you can't stub your toe and can't get caught looking down the road. But how do you manage that quarterback situation moving forward? Because you're not going to get a single howdy down there in College Station that's not followed by, hey, who you fixing to start? And everyone's going to say, after tonight, how could you possibly not make it Reed?
And he has earned the right, and that's what I was getting at. He's earned the right to make the decision. And to me, you ride the hot hand, and that's Marcel Reed.
At South Carolina.
Oh, boy, is that an interesting game.
I agree. I imagine they'll probably make that one a night game, and you get that place all cock-a-doodle-doo and all that stuff. And then they go to Auburn, and then it's Texas on that get-in price will be
I'm
11.
Really hoping I could book my flights for that game right now for game day.
Did this game result tonight mean you don't get to go to BR or what?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it was coming. I tried to tell him.
Well, I mean, look, tonight
self-inflicted.
The game turned on a dime like you'll rarely see. But whether it was a stroke of genius from Elko or self-inflicted, the way the dominoes fell, it was a fireworks show. And again, so I tonight in that window of time, you're seeing a guy in Prbula on the road help Penn State get a big win, and Marcel Reed and A&M continue this role since they fell week one against Notre Dame. That's an interesting question. I think Cignetti is an impossible to ignore candidate for Coach of the Year.
No, I totally get it. I'm just because I was closer to this. I had a chance to be closer to the situation.
Okay,
that's it. But I mean, the one good thing I will say, and they always want more shine in College Station. They did get a chance to show out tonight, and they showed out. That place was a zoo.
Yeah, it was.
Bunky did send out the swaying thing. Mm-hmm. Did you see that one with the one LSU
guy? But see, you know
that sums up those two teams. That's because that LSU guy is not moving.
No,
he's not moving,
and he doesn't give a fuck. It could be 100,000 of you, and it's one of me. I like my chances because I'm from Baton Rouge, bitch. Like that's how that conversation goes.
And that's our clip for this podcast, Jack. I'll send you the video. It's just priceless. It is A&M and LSU.
And he's just shaking his head like, nope.
And he's not swaying either.
Nope. Nah, sir. I'm standing right here. All right, let's bounce around. Let's bounce around, man. Shall we?
Yeah.
I got to the end of winners, and I said, you're probably wondering, if you paid attention, you're thinking, Scott, Notre Dame and Oregon. Did those? Yep, loved them both. Didn't want to give out anybody against Navy because both you and I
love America.
Huh?
You love America. That's why.
That's right. Hail to salute to the servicemen and women. We appreciate you. But that line was just, it told you all you needed to know.
That started moving a lot too.
Well, the joyride's over, and you, here, just as a general rule, you probably don't want to turn it over 6 times. You'll probably lose, unless you're SMU, which we can get to. But Navy gift-wrapped a lot, and Notre Dame, look, Notre Dame was the better team demonstrably, but Navy just, speaking of self-inflicted, I mean, it's 6 turnovers, and they obliterate Navy. You and I both said either Navy, Army, or Navy. Excuse me, get them. Well, we're down to Coach Monken and Army. After today, I'm like, maybe I want to reassess that position.
Yeah, I felt like I was on an island, liking Notre Dame because of their defense. Watching them against Georgia Tech, I've said it plenty of times. They got guys, man. They got a lot of guys, and they've lost a bunch of guys. And to see somebody be able to take their belief and their plan against that Navy offense, I thought was really interesting, and a huge credit to Marcus Freeman, because everybody has their ideas. You know what you have to do, but a lot of it's based on personnel. And Notre Dame plays look at how young that defense. I mean, they got a true freshman corner and a redshirt freshman corner, and those guys played, and they did the darn thing. That was pretty darn impressive. I know Navy strength of schedule's not up there. I have mentioned the one offense that they did play was Memphis, and Memphis scored 44, but Navy scored 56 in that game. But no, all credit to the Irish. That was brilliant, genius, and a well-executed win.
The other giant number that was maybe a little bit of a that seems like a lot of points to be laying to a ranked team was Oregon.
Yeah.
And look, you go out there and it's 527, 229 on the ground, and Oregon rolls, never threatened. And that's sometimes the script goes kind of the way it seems like it probably, like sort of the way Vegas is telling you. At least to my eyes, that seems like that's kind of what happened there.
I just wonder, like, Oregon, they don't have anything left. At Michigan, Terps go to Eugene, no offense.
Yeah.
At Madison, that might be a big noon game. That's a different place. And then UW.
No, they go to Indianapolis unbeaten.
Okay.
Pretty clear.
We're on the same page there.
Yeah, pretty clear.
Is that good, though?
I mean, look, they played a Boise team that's a whole lot better than maybe people knew. You would have probably been asleep. I don't know if you saw that game. That was an interesting game.
I stayed up for that.
the key to that game was that Boise twice got touchdowns on fourth downs inside the 5-yard line instead of and there was an absolutely bullshit personal foul call with UNLV driving with a chance to take the lead. I thought I mean that was to let them play. It was a soccer flop, and they called it. But give Boise credit. You're on the road and you're down and you twice roll the dice and they scored touchdowns in there. So that close,
was a big fourth down conversion late too.
Well, several of them.
Yeah, but I mean the last one,
you shouldn't have asked for you wanted it to be a first down if you were UNLV, because the way the clock was working, you needed to be able to call your timeout and hold them to a field goal, and that was your only miracle. You're going to have to thread the needle, and once you were past the 2-minute timeout, it was curtains, and they wasted 2 timeouts. UNLV did in the second half. That was sloppy, and it cost them late. But that's a good UNLV team.
That's what I was going to say. I kind of think that. I mean, it showed some validity to UNLV.
I agree. I totally agree with that. What I was just trying to talk about that game just a little bit as a way to acknowledge that they close loss to Oregon. In retrospect, we were worried about Oregon early on. Like, I don't know. Well, actually, Boise's pretty good. Might be in the playoff. But no,
lead the nation in sacks too.
Yeah, and they are. It was wild because Haj Malik was just. It was every time he dropped back.
Yeah,
it looked like there were 19 dudes in Boise.
Yeah,
helmets. Literally, it was a lot that was going on there. No, I don't think Oregon loses till they go to Indy, and then I don't know if they'll lose there either.
Who are they going to play?
Penn State.
Indiana?
I don't know. Can Indiana lose in Columbus and still make the playoff? If their name was something other than Indiana, they'd be allowed to. I don't know. I don't know why we would have any. There shouldn't be. Look at how they play and look at what they do. Still haven't trailed in the game. I was talking about Vegas, that that Notre Dame line and that Oregon line. To me, were like, well, just lay the points. That's obvious. I would like to take this opportunity to apologize to Brigham Young.
I did the same thing, but hold on. We didn't take UCF because we hate BYU. The numbers screamed to take UCF. So all you BYU people that are saying, I don't believe in your team, that has nothing to do with it.
No, they don't every fan base understand. No, every fan base, like last week. Oh, you went against us last week. Right, and I won. You understand how math works?
Ooh.
Because Oklahoma State was getting enough points that you won and I won. Today, you won and Steve and I did not.
Yep.
Here's what's impressive to me. BYU UCF conference game, because of course it is, they dominate more than 2 times the time of possession.
The touchdown before the half was a killer.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
but see, that's
credit
what
to them.
But that's what well coached, good football teams do. They take any small opening and exploit it and make it a larger one. They played from ahead. The game script you expect if you think UCF's going to win is they jump them, and then BYU's kind of in scramble mode. And that's not how the game went at all.
No.
It's BYU playing from the lead. They're throwing they're going 5.
How about the fake field goal?
I'm doing that 5-hole nutmeg yourself, chucking it backwards. Like, good.
Why didn't he throw it though?
I don't
the guy
know.
Was nude, running to the end zone.
I think it was like, hey, we did enough. We did enough on this one, and it's going to work, and it did. But
double snap fake field goal.
But
Charlie needs to run that.
Yeah, they don't. They scored. They've played 2 games and they've scored every single possession and a pick 6.
MVP pin again?
Nah, not today. They let others participate. He didn't really touch the rock. Didn't need to. I mean, I'm just telling you. If you play the Texans first grade team, buckle up. BYU rolling. I want to acknowledge the Bama-Missouri game, Steve. It's a movie I've seen about 100 times in my life. Team goes to Tuscaloosa. that team's got hopes of being something. Maybe it's ranked. And Alabama takes a look at him and goes, y'all ready? Let me know when you're ready. All right. Because Bama signed up for 60. And Cook's injured.
Yeah.
That's a gigantic deal. We understand. If he plays, does it make a difference in the outcome? In my humble estimation, it does not. Missouri doesn't dent the scoreboard. Bama just rolls. It's just, I had it on one of the 4 screens, and I honestly stopped paying attention because I knew it was not necessary, other than just from bookkeeping. Like, where are we going to end up with that one?
Yeah.
That's a movie you've seen before. Bama LSU becomes an elimination game, right?
I will say with Bama, the defense is a lot better than it was when they went to Vandy. They have made some adjustments. They have buttoned it up. Now, today, I thought was all about what Missouri could actually put on the field. They were up against it.
Right, and not having Cook is just you saw it all game against Auburn last week, and then the guy went to the hospital, which I guess apparently is right around the corner. But even so, he came back and they pulled one out of the fire against Auburn. But without him, you have no chance against Alabama. And with him, again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Like against that Bama team today, you're not beating that team today, right? Missouri
was not on winners, right?
They were not. They were not, but it's a poor week. Just needed to lay the points. I mean, Oregon and Notre Dame. Hello, here we are, Scott. Just say our names. Say them. I suck. The Texas Vandy game, I want to ask you about because the perception of them, I hope, has changed. I mean, we've talked about them, but after Alabama lost to them, there were articles about like, is this going to be the worst loss that anyone's had? I'm like, do you all watch sports?
Correct.
They're ranked and deserve to be. What are we talking about? Because Vanderbilt used to suck, that this is a bad loss? The people that write shit like that, it's just so lazy and dumb. You should aspire to be neither of those things. And certainly not both of them. And I thought this game just spoke to that. At the end, they lose. Texas is behind early. They play well enough to get out of Nashville with a win. And let me tell you, if you're Sark, you don't care that you were 18. You're not, hey, bud, sorry if you guys lost money. Better that we didn't lose this game. I think in loss, Vanderbilt can continue to demonstrate that this is that tired narrative of who they once were is done. Texas is thrilled to win.
I couldn't agree with you more. I've said about Texas all week is people just want to talk about how bad you looked against Georgia. You have to forget it, and you have to figure out a way just to go to Nashville and get a win. It's not going to be pretty because Vandy prides themselves on keeping your offense off the field and having that maniac run around who isn't afraid of anything.
You said
anyone,
it best.
Any situation, anything, whatever. And it's awesome. But you still got to line up for 60 and go do it. And in my opinion, Texas teams from the past would crumble. And there were opportunities to do that. I thought Quinn looked a lot better. And the defense was pretty solid. You give up that drive late. You knew that was coming. And, they're the best special teams coached. They're the best coached special teams units in the country, in my opinion, with Texas. And you saw that with the onside kick. They get it, and let's get out of here. I don't care if we win by 3. I don't care if we win by 10. I don't care if we win by 40. Let's get the hell out of Nashville with a win and go back to Austin.
And they did a really good job of largely keeping the maniac off the field. Pavia, it was like a 2-1 time of possession difference when Bama came to town because they couldn't get him off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, they limited the offense, they limited the damage. Their defense. I mean, Sark was talking about, it's a toughness win, it's a culture win. I agree with that. Like a lot of buzzwords, but I think that they're buzzwords that show the reality of that. Because again, Vanderbilt was ranked for a reason, and they've shown you that they're a decent football team. Clark Lee's group is, again, salute to them, but also to Sark. You don't know how young folks are going to respond, especially Texas, like newer to this, like that first time to the playoff last year, and you want to stay a while. You talk about we're back. Like back's one thing. You want to stay. You want to unpack your stuff and be one of the heavyweights. Back's not what you want. Stay is what you want. And so you lose that one.
They had another tricky road game at Arkansas.
I agree. They hung a big number in Stark Vegas today. That looked like a sneaky spot.
Arkansas people don't like Texas either.
Not a whole lot. I recall they went down there a few years back, and Arkansas
Sark's first year.
They crushed them.
Mm-hmm.
They crushed them. But that was, I mean, pretty. Listen, if Steve and I are both saying, "Hey, that's a pretty good win for Texas and Vanderbilt," that speaks to how far they've come.
Correct. Credit to both teams.
Correct. What else do you have on? My card is, my card's my card.
What are we at with Colorado up 31-14?
Should be good. I mean, it's dangerous. You just never know because Cincinnati was in winners. They only had 2 losses this year. They were only by a combined 4 points. That's what I want. I said SMU. There are 4 unbeatens in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Clemson, Miami, Pittsburgh, SMU. SMU turned the ball over 6 times. 6.
On the road.
And somehow got out of Durham with a victory. They blocked a field goal late that would have given the home team a win. And so our boy, the Big Rig, Harry Higgs was on Twitter saying to Game Day, "Come on down. I guarantee you'll have a good time."
I was with a couple of Pitt people when I was checking in here in Pittsburgh. They were like, "Hey, any chance? We got undefeated SMU, Dallas."
Don't believe that's going to make it. But hard to do. Hard to turn it over 6 times and win.
Especially overcoming that whistle in Durham.
Different.
Tough whistle.
Whole different deal, Steve. I also want to just say to KU fans, by the way, they got their ass kicked by Arkansas in one of those scrimmages.
Yeah, I watched. We were out last night. Michigan on Big Ten Network
played Toledo.
Yeah,
like 96-92. I saw
you scouting. I see you scouting.
Hey, I saw USC beat Gonzaga in one of those. Arkansas beat Kansas. So I was going to say to Kansas fans, look, you guys are going to be really good.
Who's Maryland got?
They played
UConn.
They played Seton Hall. They played Seton Hall in a little seat. They won the game. We'll see.
No, KU.
But KU fans,
Sweet 16s in the crowd.
I put you in winners because I said
I had you too.
I said this is exactly the script I thought it would be, and it's hard to lose more excruciating games than Kansas has lost this year. Really, really difficult. Lost on like the last play.
They've been in every game.
That's correct. Threw a pick 6 right before the half when they lost to Illinois. Same deal against UNLV. Lost by 3. Had a 10-point lead at West Virginia in the 4th quarter. Your boy had them in winners. Didn't get there. West Virginia comes back. They were close with TCU. Arizona State beat them on the last, like I said, basically last play of the game. They had the lead. Kansas State, Emaw, and all that stuff. They hit a 51-yarder to take a 2-point lead, and then they've won 16 straight. Is that what it is?
Yes, against Kansas.
Can you imagine being in a rivalry game with a team that you hate the most and they hate you the most, and you lose to them 16 straight times? I can, because Maryland and Penn State, that's how it went my whole life. So, yes, I can relate. I'll just say it isn't awesome. It's not awesome. So, at least At least you took the trip to cover town. But K-State continues its to roll in the Big 12.
Yeah.
Who the hell? Who's going to come out of that conference? I'll tell you who it isn't going to be is Arizona.
Yeah.
We thought they were good early in the year. They're not.
I made 2 wagers this week.
Okay.
And they both involved Colorado. It was Colorado to win the Big 12 and Shedeur Sanders to win the Heisman Trophy. And the reason I did that is because they're going to be favored in every single game the rest of the way.
Okay.
And we know how that hype train works with Boulder. They are so much better than they were last year. And everybody just keeps pointing to what happened at the end of the season last year. That is not the case here.
Okay.
They are solid. He's the best quarterback in college football. I stand by that. You and I talked about it last week. And he is a problem, man. I'm telling you, they're going to be there. They're going to be there in the end.
Okay. Steve got some futures out there.
Huh.
Right.
Just
can you imagine that on a Saturday in the fall, Florida State and Miami would play, and it would be a completely inconsequential Miami by 22. And I think they might not have covered.
I had 21, and I gave Miami on the show. So I was watching that one late where you thought Mario was just trying to punch it in, and Norvell was coaching his ass off to score, because I did see while I was flying today, that thing got up to like 23.5. Then I saw 22.5. I saw 21.5. And then it came down. I was like, is he going to go for 2 to help out his boosters? But he ended up kicking the extra point, and they won by 22. So, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, depending on when you got it.
They're 1-7.
They are
1-7. Just game used to be a big deal. Pretty amazing how quick that thing turned on a dime.
Do you think Miami's better than Clemson?
No. I said that fast, too.
Do you think Indiana's better than Alabama?
No. I don't think they could run the ball like what they did today. I don't think they could.
They didn't do it until the second half today.
I understand that.
You know?
Well, they had a pick 6, and they had the one bomb.
I do think Indiana's defense is legit.
Better than I thought.
That's
a fascinating one. Clemson and Miami don't play, or at least they're not scheduled to regular season.
No, and I was talking to the Pitt people here. Miami goes to Syracuse.
Yep.
Clemson goes to Pitt.
Yep.
Pitt goes to SMU next week.
Those are all ACC games.
But Miami, Clemson, and SMU don't play. So we could have a absolute nightmare scenario in the ACC.
Everything's dumb. I know. Our network and Fox, it's all our fault. I get it. I can also say I don't love it.
Here we go.
What are you looking up?
Ohio State at Penn State next week.
You got an early number.
I do.
See, but this is a bootleg number because you have no idea who's playing quarterback.
I can bet it right now.
What's the max?
500.
Okay, so Ohio State.
Is that a nickel in your terms?
Well, I mean, it's in any gambler's terms, Steve. Don't act like you don't know the parlance of how this works. Is that wait? If you did it twice, is that a dime? I don't know. You know how many times that is? That's a 100-timer, my guy.
100 times.
What is it?
What do you think?
Ohio State by 3.
4.5.
And I was going to say 4, and I couldn't do it.
Louisville's at Clemson.
Clemson is giving a lot. Like
11.
Really? That isn't enough.
Duke is at Miami.
Wait. Clemson's at home giving Louisville 11?
Mm-hmm.
Miami was giving them 5.5 in Louisville. They're only getting 5 more?
Mm-hmm.
5.5 more in Clemson?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
Noon
low.
game.
That's low.
Duke at Miami.
Go to the Smoking Pig and get you some.
Oh.
Duke was getting 11.5 today at home. They're getting 20.
Good call. 19.5.
We can't do this. This is the Simmons and cousin Sal do the bit where they do the thing. We're not.
I just wanted your first inkling.
I understand, but I just there are people out there that are beat dubbers and rhyme biters that take bits, and I take that shit seriously. You can't do that to people.
All right, I will put it down. Sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry. I just want to say to the people that would be like, hey, isn't that it is what they do, so we're not going to do it. I just want to make sure I mentioned all the games. I didn't say anything about Oklahoma, Ole Miss. I don't have anything for you. I watched it. OU's struggle bus. The quarterback was better. They had the lead at half. I don't know. That's scintillating content right there.
You're not feeling Ole Miss could beat Georgia when they come in 2 weeks?
Nope. I'm not. And it'll be a great scene. The
daytime will.
But then that guy in the visor will get all pissed off. And he'll start cooking up all sorts of things about who doesn't believe in what. And he'll make the guys in the silver britches fucking furious.
His fist pumps are like next level too.
Because he means them. It ain't performative.
Yeah. World Series.
Joe Davis's call, the whole deal with there she goes, the Vince Scully. Did you know that I saw both the Gibson homer and the Freddie Freeman homer apparently happened at 8:37, 36 years apart. The exact same time.
Not the same day.
36 years apart, 8:37.
I remember we were getting ready for a Pop Warner game against Shelton the next morning.
I was at a fraternity formal, and I had the A's for my lungs.
Did you have your tie around your head?
I don't know, but I started pounding whatever vodka drinks.
So wait, hold on. Let's do the math there. That was 88.
Yep.
And then in 90,
I had the A's against the Reds every single game.
You love the A's.
I sure did. And let me tell you, that's before imagine the guy who all he does is take dogs, who was out there laying minus 380 every game. Give me Bob Welch for 6 dimes. I didn't have $100.
There's no way Dave Stewart's losing tonight.
Oh, and let me tell you, buddy, he did.
4 in a row.
Oh, my God. That was such a catastrophe. Thankfully, the guy that was the book ended up starting an offshore and making about $500 million, and he forgave some debt because he's a benevolent gentleman. Let's come back to this. The game one was just remarkable theater, I thought. I mean, who didn't? And then the strategy and the this and the that. And then just Freeman hitting an absolute tank was incredible. And then, I mean, I don't know, top 9, I just kept thinking somebody's going to hit one down the line. They're going to tie this thing up because that's kind of the way the postseason's gone. And then it was good contact on that last out, but I don't know. When's game 3?
What's today?
Saturday, allegedly.
I have no Monday.
Okay.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the boogie down. You want people out of their trees? Get the Yankee satin coats ready.
Absolute mutants.
They're gonna be out of their minds
from every borough. Every borough. Bring them on.
Ohtani has a hit. Does Judge have a hit?
Ohtani's wings all messed up because of that slide tonight. They said apparently it's okay. It looked. I mean,
he'll be fine.
I don't know.
They didn't check his bat yet.
They got to check his arm, Steve. That's what they got to check his shoulder. That's what they. I tell you what, man. Soto's going to get he's going to get all the dough, and he should.
He looks so good in blue and orange.
He really
doesn't
would.
even have to move his house.
Okay. We've lost the plot here. People that are listening aren't listening for me and you to talk about you trying to convince people to come to the Mets.
And you watch any NBA?
Today, I did not.
No. Last night?
No, last night I watched the World Series.
Halliburton doesn't look good. Big topic in here at Indiana.
He'll be fine.
Okay.
I watched the World Series and I tried to root home UNLV, who I picked in winners. Did not get there. So no, not a ton of. I mean, you see stuff going by on the bird. It's early season. We're keeping irons in the fire. But Steve, I got two more. It's going to be 30-something degrees in the morning. We got two more flag games coming at 9 bells. So
what?
We
got frost on the
pumpkin.
Bars?
Frost on the pumpkin, and we have dueling leagues going right now. So,
by the way, deer annihilating my pumpkins. Got video of it.
Deer eat pumpkin?
Yeah.
What kind of zombie deer are you dealing with over there?
Got
they don't
pictures of them and everything. I got out of my car Wednesday night after work. 3 of them right on my sidewalk scared the shit out of me, just looking at me. And then
you know what you need? You need a big 100-pound Rhodesian Ridgeback, because let me tell you, brother, there were 5 of them in my yard, and when you open the door and Red comes out like a rocket ship, let me tell you what the deer do. They don't nibble your pumpkins. There's no pumpkin nibbling going on here. You need that. Come on, Steve, get a dog. The girls want one.
Just stop.
Come on, do it. Tell everybody how much you hate dogs and why you won't do it.
I grew up with dogs my whole life.
Okay.
You know what dogs need?
To be fed and walked and
tender love and care.
Yeah. You're a sap. You told us at the
They're
top.
11, 8, and 5.
Right. And right, they'll do a shitty job.
Tried FaceTiming tonight. They just gave the phone to the other person.
Not
Daddy's
interested.
on the phone. Daddy's on the phone.
Right, and you get the thing where you just look up their nose and they're walking around because they don't.
Yes.
Believe me, we've all lived
it's
it.
Over.
We've all lived it. I had to officiate a fight. Like today, my guys got pissed because they wanted to run routes, and they fought in the driveway. And we went inside, and they're like, it was blood curdling shrieks and hostility. And the thing that the middle guy doesn't understand is that the little guy is going to absolutely just wreck him. It's going to be so bad. And that's what I get when I'm here. When I'm gone, they don't even want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Except for my son to tell me my Hemi pick sucks.
Yeah, easy on that.
No, I'm just let him pick him from now on. Hey, you're so smart. You come up with a pick, smart guy.
People at Permane Brothers are ready for you.
Awesome.
They said no. You could get one with no slaw.
They didn't say that. You're lying.
I asked 12 people tonight.
And what they said?
They said it's possible. If Scott wants to do it, definitely for Scott.
For those that don't know, we'll close with this.
I have one other thing after this.
7 U.S. Open was at Oakmont.
With hair?
Not really. I had abandoned ship at that point, and we went to PNC Park. Fantastic.
Oh.
And everyone says you got to go to Permane Brothers. Of course, when in Rome. And I said, okay. And then they went to put a big handful of like repugnant coleslaw on my sandwich, and I said, no, thank you. And they said it comes on the sandwich, and I said, no, it isn't on there. Just I've told the story 100 times, but 101, I don't want coleslaw. Well, it comes on the sandwich. Well, I understand how you make it, but it isn't. That's like saying lettuce and tomato and mayonnaise come on the sandwich. It isn't on there until you put it on there, and I don't want you to put it on there. So can I please not have the coleslaw? Pause. Hostilities rising on both sides. It comes on the sandwich. Right now, you explain that to me. And I hate coleslaw, and I'm not going to eat the coleslaw, so don't put it on the sandwich because I don't want it. It comes on the sandwich. Goodbye. I'm going to go get some pizza and a hot dog. And then I had people from Pittsburgh telling me I was are you familiar with this? Like, the customer's not always right. If the customer's being an asshole, then the customer's not right. I was just saying I don't like coleslaw, and I didn't want it on my sandwich. That's all I said.
You don't have to put it on there.
That's the point.
Correct.
It's not like saying there's a soup. It's vegetable soup. Oh, can you not put tomatoes in there? No, it's in the stock. The soup has been made. We can't go in and retroactively take the tomatoes out of the soup. It's in the soup. This ain't soup, bro. It's a sandwich. And you can just not take your big mitt and put it in that sloppy-ass bucket of coleslaw and put it on my sandwich.
And my sandwich is hot. I don't want all that cold slop on there.
I'd be thrilled to eat the sandwich without it.
No slaw.
I'm not wrong.
You're not. I'm totally in your corner. And that's why In-N-Out's the best, because you order it and they give it to you however you want.
And if you just eat the fries first, you're going to find out how much better they are. Just put a lot of salt on them. Anyway, if the people are telling me that they'll do it without the coleslaw, then we got a chance. We have a chance to mend this fractured relationship. It's only been, I mean, and if not, that's fine. Like they're doing just great, and I wish them well. And
I'll eat history lesson. I'm not trying to get you mad at all, but it really hit me when I saw it.
Okay.
Walking court, assembly hall. Final Four banner. Last one for Indiana.
Was when they played Maryland.
Yeah. 22 years.
Right. That's why when they talk so much crap about their history, and they've got history, but it's like, bro, especially if you're young, what'd you see?
I mean, I couldn't believe, I was just staring at it. Not even the national championships.
No. And you got 5 of them. We get it. But unless
Final Four.
You know how old you have to be to have seen them win a title? So that's why when they
38.
What is that? 87?
Yeah, because I was born in 77. I was 9.
So just the people that run their mouths about that, it's like, no doubt you got history on your side. It's just, unless you participated in it, it seems a little, I don't know. But hey, you know what you got? You got an unbeaten football team right now. And you got some dough in your NIL and you're loaded on the hoop court and you should be good. So giddy up, maybe. How about, come on, let's go. Big Ten.
They're playing Tennessee tomorrow somewhere.
One of those games we were talking about?
I think so.
That's fun. I like that we do that now. They don't count. It's just like hey, we're just doing this.
But you're scouting. You're seeing the scores.
It's my job. I'm supposed to pay attention to this stuff, aren't I? Supposed to pick winners, and I didn't do it this week. God bless it.
We got our first 5 scripted tomorrow for the Texans.
I'm not a coach. I'm just going to be a guy in a hoodie that's half asleep.
Go cut the orange slices.
I'm happy to do it. Everybody have a great day, and then we'll be right back here after we're in Pittsburgh, and we'll see if we have a sandwich update. I don't. I thought that battle lines have been drawn. They made it very clear.
We're gonna get it done.
I don't think so, bud.
They
don't like me. I'm public enemy number 1. Like I'm the bad guy. All right.
It's 1:23 and this game's still going.
Yeah, I'm going to bed. You
miss you, bud. I'll see you Monday.
Look forward to that. You're gonna have fun sleeping in when I get up bright and early to go run dueling flag football games.
These curtains ain't opening for a while.
What's better than that? Isn't it sad? All the dads out there and moms, if you get a solo hotel night, you shut those curtains and like, I'm getting up when I get up. But don't make the mistake of forgetting to do whatever you got to do to your door. Hang the thing, because they're going to come at 8 o'clock and it's going to be like,
not at this joint.
Excuse me. Oh my God, what do you want? I have one chance to sleep and you want to fix the room? So make sure. Is that a high-end place where the shower is like a geometry problem and you can't figure out how to take a shower?
They got the button right next to the bed that turns everything off in the room.
You're in a good joint. That's high-end.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Well, you turn those lights off and get those fluffy pillows and get yourself some nice night's sleep. I'm going to text you from the flag football game.
And my phone's off.
I'm going to FaceTime you. And you can look at my nose. I'll give it to Charlie. I'll hand it to Charlie. He'll be super into talking to you. Bye, everybody.